tax time, that deadline is coming up. Joe Mastriano is a CPA and IRS problem specialist. He's also a Fox News radio expert. We're going to talk about how more Americans are filing their own taxes. Joe, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing very well. And yes, people are wising up. That's going to increase because you get these national tax or local tax factories that are not CPA firms, and people are wising up that they're paying huge amounts of money, often more than what we charge for a return, just so somebody part-time can go in there and put their W-2 and some other information into a computerized program and spit it back out. People know, hey, they can do that themselves. They can get a free Tax Act or TurboTax program and do the same thing.
Well, more Americans are e-filing their taxes on their own, according to the IRS. As of March 7, and nearly 27.4 million people had prepared their own taxes. That's a 5.8 increase over the same period last year. Now, Joe, you say that there's a factor in deciding whether you should do your taxes or whether you need a pro. What are those factors?
Absolutely. It's very sad that that's happening because unless you've got a simple W-2 only, and you don't even know that if you do or not knowing the tax law, I say go to a CPA firm like mine. People come to me who want all their deductions and don't want to get audited. If they Google Killer IRS, they can get to my website, have a free download explaining these things. But here's the deal, okay? You don't want to get audited, and you want your deductions. And not to get it audited means all you got to do is send a return in right before October 15th after you file the extension and get the wage and income transcript from the IRS, W-2s, 1099, so you know what they have on you. And then we document the returns with saying that, with comments, taxpayer has the receipts, they're following the rules, it's business versus personal. And anyone we've done that for has never been audited. And that's why people are crazy just to fill out these computerized programs that have instruction books, from the IRS publications into the program. And they don't understand that the forms are just to help you. You have to understand the tax code. We frequently change the forms to conform to what the law is. And people have got that backwards. They think the forms are the law.
Joe, what are some of the most overlooked tax deductions?
Well, people get scared because they go on the computer and they Google IRS audit red flags. And people say, earned income credit. Well, maybe I'll take it, maybe I won't. How much is it? Or they'll have employee business expenses that they'll overlook on their job, or office and home for self-employed, or even the insurance deduction. There's specific things like that, and people are scared, so they don't take it. Contributions, they read that if you're past a certain percentage, you'll be audited. My attitude is, I don't care if it's in the code and it's in your favor. Take it, document the return, don't get audited.
Joe, there are so many tax rules, regulations, laws. How can one person, how can one company, how can one computer program keep up with all of it?
Well, that's just it. People and companies are better than the computer program keeping up with it because, we can look up the rules, but they get interpreted, and that's the way laws are written in this country. They're subject to interpretation. And you get these, quickie tax packages that they send. And, I get consultations. People call me up and they say, well, look, I read this and read it. Doesn't it say that? And I have to explain that, yes, it says that, but that's not the intention of the writer of what you're reading. And therefore, that's not what the IRS intends you to follow. Now, for most people, it's really not that complicated because once you learn what the interpretations are, I mean, you've got to go to school for it, but once you learn what the interpretations are, it pretty much falls into place. You know that if you have this type of income or this type of deduction, this is how the IRS expects it to be treated, regardless of what you read.
All right.
So you learn it from experience.
All right, Joe.
And after thousands of returns, we have the experience.
All right, Joe, I know you've got a lot of information on your website. What's that address?
Okay, it's taxproblem.org, but if people can just remember Killer IRS, that's my trademark, all they have to do is Google Killer IRS, and you'll get to my website.
And we've been talking with Joe Mastriano, who's a CPA and IRS problem specialist. He's a Fox News Radio expert also. Joe, we appreciate you so much. Thanks, sir.
Well, thank you.